Sports, home of the Triple Crown.
The inner harbor of Baltimore, Maryland, and just about a 15-minute drive to the northwest sits historic Pimlico Racecourse, opened since 1870, and today, once again, the capital of the thoroughbred racing world for the Preakness Stakes. 2 weeks ago in Louisville, Kentucky, I'll Have Another streaked to Derby victory in the final 100 yards. Trainer Doug O'Neill has said his colt can repeat today. O'Neill hoping rookie jockey Mario Gutierrez can turn in another successful run on the track. He'll likely need one with this rival horse again in the field, Bodemeister, overtaken by I'll Have Another at the end of the Derby, though Bodemeister, running so fast early, was gallant in defeat. Some happy folks on the Pimlico infield enjoying the People's Party. They've been there all day, with everything pointed toward the mile and 3/16 race just about 2 hours from now, the 137th Preakness Stakes. And Preakness Day has dawned beautifully in Baltimore, Maryland. A big crowd on hand and a lot of sunshine and a lot of anticipation in the rematch between Bodemeister and I'll Have Another in the Preakness. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pimlico on Maryland's biggest sporting day of the year. Over 100,000 on hand, and the Preakness has drawn a field of 11, including 4 of the first 5 finishers in the Kentucky Derby, as I'll Have Another and Bodemeister renew their budding rivalry. And Bodemeister, second at Churchill Downs, is the favorite here at the Preakness, hoping the mile and 3/16 distance, which is a 16th shorter than the Derby, will play to his front-running style. And joined by our experts, analyst Randy Moss and two-time Preakness winning jockey Gary Stevens. And of course, racing is so hungry for a Triple Crown winner. The question on everybody's mind is that, can he win the Preakness, I'll Have Another, and then make a run at the Triple?
Absolutely he can, guys. He's 3 for 3 this year with 3 perfect trips. Why can't he get another perfect trip today?
And despite his 15-to-1 odds in the Derby, I'll Have Another's win was definitely no fluke. And he also became the first horse in Derby history to win from post 19. As we take a look at the start, keep in mind that you're actually breaking closer to the outside rail than the inside rail. That's the obvious disadvantage when you're way out there in 19. At this point, you see that I'll Have Another is more than 73 feet out from the inside rail. So the mission for young Mario Gutierrez to work his way closer to the inside by the time the field reaches the first turn. It was helped by Bodemeister's fast pace. Right here at the midway point of the turn, he tucks in behind Bodemeister, and Gary, look how close he was to the rail. How important was that?
It was very important. He was too wide there, and watch what happens coming into the stretch. He saves all the ground, swings a little wide coming off of the turn, but he's only 29.5 feet behind Bodemeister at this point in time. Got plenty of energy left after saving all that ground.
Meanwhile, Bodemeister set such a fast pace. He became the first horse since these records were kept starting in 1903 to have such a big lead at the top of the stretch and there at mid-stretch and blow it. Now, he did fight hard to finish second, but he may have run the most grueling race in Derby history. So, Tom, the #1 question for the Preakness is, after that effort and after the Arkansas Derby effort before that, does Bodemeister have enough gas left in the tank to win the Preakness?
Well, that's what we'll find out in a couple of hours. And let's take a look at the way they'll line up then for the second jewel of the Triple Crown, with Tiger Walk on the rail, 4th in the Wood Memorial. Teeth of the Dog, 3rd in the Wood. Pretension, winner of the local prep, the Canyonero. Zetterholm, 3 straight wins against New York breds. Then Went the Day Well, a closing 4th with a rough trip in the Derby. Creative Cause, who was 5th at Churchill Downs. Bodemeister blazed early and held 2nd at the Derby. Daddy Knows Best back for another try after a 10th place finish in Louisville. I'll Have Another a length and a half in front to win the Roses. Optimizer 11th in the Derby at 42-1, and Cosetti, who was 4th in the Arkansas Derby in his last start. That's your field for the Preakness Stakes. Certainly a Derby winner, I'll Have Another, wasted no time in getting to Baltimore. Right, Kenny Rice?
That's right, Tom. He came the Monday after the Derby, the earliest Derby arrival here at the Preakness in over a decade. And that's all by design for trainer Doug O'Neill, who told me in just a few moments ago, this place feels like home. They have settled in. They're about 300 feet away from the stakes barn, the traditional home of the Derby champ. But remember, with O'Neill, it's all been by design this year. He's a perfect 3 for 3 in bringing along this horse at his pace. He says he feels like home. They have flowers up here. Later on, they're hoping to smell those black-eyed Susans and be home in the winner's circle. Let's go to Bob Neumeier.
Well, Kenny, speaking of home, the family of Ahmed Zayat, the principal owner of Bodemeister, is living in 2 mobile homes right here on the Pimlico parking lot. That's because of Zayat's religious beliefs. He cannot drive on the Sabbath, so they're staying right here on the grounds. But here's the rub. They only had enough water for 1 shower for the Zayats, so Pimlico hooked them up to the water supply in the laundry room of all places. So lots of showers for the Zayats, looking good, hoping to get their picture taken with Bodemeister in the winner's circle. Here's Mike Battaglia.
All right, Neumeier, and you might want to know why Bodemeister is the favorite in this race. Didn't he get beat 2 weeks ago in the Derby? Yes, he did, but he's a flashy, fast horse. He's got a flashy trainer. He's developed a following. He was the favorite in the Derby 2 weeks ago. And if you've ever been around a bettor after one of his horses loses, he'll always come up with an excuse. Some of these excuses legit, some of them are not. I think Bodemeister had a legitimate excuse for losing the Kentucky Derby. He just ran too fast in the early going. He went 45 and change. You're going to get a better pace today. All of the other horses that ran that fast early, the best finish was 13th. He finished second. That's why he's the favorite. May not win, Donna, but he's the favorite.
Well, Bodemeister's jockey Mike Smith is going to be looking over his shoulder for these horses running through the stretch, and specifically I'm talking about Went the Day Well, who was 4th in the Kentucky Derby. After a troubled start, he was pinched back, further back than he's used to being, and came flying through the stretch. In fact, he ran the last 8th mile faster than any horse in the Kentucky Derby. And Creative Cause was 5th in that race. In the Kentucky Derby, he was wide on both turns. He's not going to have to circle 19 horses in today's race. With a better trip, both of those horses will come flying through the stretch at Bodemeister. Tom?
All right, Donna, so Bodemeister and I'll Have Another are the headliners in today's race, but certainly there are several others who could post a victory today in the run for the Black-Eyed Susans. Our aerial views of today's race made possible by MetLife. You know what's best for your family. MetLife has the tools to get you started. Visit MetLife.com to learn more today. MetLife, I can do this. And on our Facebook page, you can pick your favorite to win the Preakness today. Do you think I'll Have Another can make it a double? Do you think it'll be Bodemeister reversing the outcome? Or could it be Went the Day Well? Perhaps a horse in the rest of the field. That's at our Facebook page. You can vote for who you think will win the Preakness Stakes. And there are 5 horses in today's Preakness who ran in the Kentucky Derby 2 weeks ago. Optimizer beaten 12 lengths in 11th place. And Daddy Knows Best, he was in 10th, 11.5 lengths behind I'll Have Another. Creative Cause, widest of all, beaten only 3 lengths in 5th. Went the Day Well, closing fast at the end. 4th place, 2.5 lengths back. Bodemeister, the early pace setter, holding on for 2nd place as I'll Have Another scooted home by 1.5 lengths to win the Derby. So we have 4 others in addition to the first 2 coming back from the Derby. And how do we assess their chances? Donna already mentioned that Went the Day Well was maybe closing fastest of all at the end of the Derby.
And that Creative Cause was wide. So let's go back and take a look at the Kentucky Derby and look at those horses starting with Went the Day Well. Now, he breaks slowly from the gate right there. He was immediately buried in the back of the pack as a result. Watch closely here. You'll also see jockey Johnny Velasquez have some traffic issues, but those were mainly caused by his slow start. As Went the Day Well was taking a shower of dirt. Daddy Knows Best and Optimizer, beautiful trips. Creative Cause, though, was 3 wide around the first turn. However, it was the second turn where Creative Cause actually lost the most ground.
Yeah, Randy, he was at least 8 wide at this point, continued to be 8 wide all the way around the turn. Joel Rosario chose to put him out there, didn't want to get him stopped, but he could not afford to lose that kind of ground today.
According to the track system at Churchill, which takes ground loss into consideration, Creative Cause actually ran at about the same rate of speed as I'll Have Another. But speaking of rate of speed, look at the back of the pack as Went the Day Well rockets through horses, finishing fastest of all and galloping out strongly past the finish line.
Yeah, he galloped out strong, and what this tells me, this horse got a lot of fight in him. When Went the Day Well came up next to him, he never did allow him to get by him.
So there are some horses from the Derby that had excuses. We'll see if those were valid excuses when they run the Preakness a little later today. And of course, I'll Have Another is the one that everyone is going to keep an eye on. There he is in his stall. and his name on the tip of everybody's tongue. He started his road to the Triple Crown at a place you might not suspect, the home of Paul Redham and his wife Zilla.
Paul's not a drinker. Sounds corny, but he likes cookies. And Zilla will bring us some cookies, and he'll finish that batch, and he'll be like, I'll have another. So that's where the name comes from. But, you know, being an O'Neill, you know, it definitely means bartender. I'll have another right over here.
Paul's not a guy that just gives me a checkbook and says, go buy a horse. I called him and I said, I really, really like this horse. I think he's going to be $60,000 or $80,000, and I know he's going to work out.
835 and then 7.5. Pete, 35,000. Thank you.
When it stops at 35, you know, Paul automatically calls me and says, you know, do you think we didn't miss something on this guy?
That is crazy cheap for a racehorse, and usually racehorses of that price would be deemed to be of inferior quality.
I mean, when you have 1,300 horses in a sale, there's a lot of horses that kind of slip through the cracks. And I just think this was one of them. Flash forward to 2 months later, and Doug called me, and he said, man, this horse is really, really good, Dennis. You have no idea what we got here.
You know, he's a very reserved, confident horse. You know, he'll walk down to the track and kind of, you know, who's checking me out? You know, he kind of has that about him.
I'll have another on the outside is closing in.
I bought a lot of expensive horses at the sales that didn't work out, and the one thing you can't measure is their heart. And this horse just has so much heart. He wants to beat you.
I'll have another and won the Kentucky Derby.
I confess I did bet on the horse and actually made the biggest gamble of my life.
He's given us so much, and it feels like we keep saying, I'll have another, and he's like, okay, I'll give you another one.
Well, Paul Redham is a wealthy man, but even wealthier after the Derby, and not just because of the winning purse.
We know how much he loves to bet. I heard rumors, so I asked Paul, what was more profitable, the $1.5 million you made off the purse money for the Kentucky Derby or the money you collected at the betting windows? He will answer almost any question on that one. He just smiled.
Well, Doug O'Neill was kissing everybody in sight at the end of the Kentucky Derby. Right now, he's next to Kenny Rice.
All right, thanks, Tom. Yes, he actually gave me a kiss before the interview there at the Kentucky Derby. You were a happy guy, Doug. You come into your first Preakness with a Derby winner. What's this 2 weeks been like for you, and more importantly for I'll Have Another?
It's incredible. All my previous dreams always ended with a Derby win. I never dreamt that I'd win the Derby and then come out with a horse who's just thriving off that, and we're just all so excited, and it's kind of calm right now here, just making sure everything gets done right and all the proper equipment's put on, but we're pumped up, ready to go.
Has this been a benefit to him to have him over this track for 2 weeks?
I think so. You know, he's settled in, the whole crew is settled in, and you know, this really feels like home here, and it's the Pimlico people have just absolutely rolled out the red carpet for us, and it's been awesome. And you have purposely stayed over here kind of away from everyone, even though it's not that far from the stakes barn. Why? It is. Well, you know, we just wanted a quiet environment, and it's turned out great. I have zero experience at this, so I wasn't really sure what the stakes barn, what it involved, but I really like where they put us, and like you say, we're very close to where they wanted to put us, and but everything so far so good. All right, good luck to you, Doug, who celebrates his birthday next Thursday, hoping 35. To 35. Ice the cake a little bit more today. Let's go to Donna.
And Kenny, this is the spot where I would be interviewing Mario Gutierrez if he wasn't just a little bit superstitious and maybe a little bit nervous. I talked to him a couple of days ago. He said it is a little bit superstitious, yes, but he wanted to try to stay relaxed. You have to keep in mind that this attention, all of this attention, is still quite new to young Mario Gutierrez. But he did ride here 2 days ago, and on Thursday he rode 2 races and won both races. So his week is getting off to a good start, and it's a really good omen for this pressure cooker he's about to find himself in with this Preakness Stakes coming up, Tom.
Well, that's right, Donna. He not too familiar maybe with the Triple Crown rigors because he's new to it all, but look how difficult it is to add the Preakness to a Derby win. This is since 1997, and the last to do it was Big Brown in 2008 to win the Derby, take the Preakness, and set sail on the Triple Crown try. Big Brown, of course, was pulled up in the Belmont Stakes, and all of these horses failed in their attempt to win the Triple Crown. Well, what's it like to be aboard a Derby winner? Well, here we are on board with I'll Have Another during a gallop, a typically fast gallop, here at Pimlico earlier this week. Preakness Day at Pimlico means crab cakes, of course, Chesapeake Bay delicacies, and the hats very much in evidence as they are at the Derby. Some pro volleyball players in the infield. And the People's Party is underway in the infield. I thought I saw Pegasus there from him. No, maybe not. Here are the odds for the 137th Preakness Stakes, with Bodemeister the 2-to-1 favorite over I'll Have Another, who is at 3-to-1 at the moment. And the one-horse Tiger Walk, currently at 14-to-1. He's owned by Kevin Plank. 20 years ago, Plank was the special teams captain at the University of Maryland, and then he started Under Armour apparel in his grandmother's basement, and that was at the age 22, and now he is a billionaire.
I was a football player in college, and I never liked the way my cotton t-shirt fell underneath my football equipment, and wondered why the only alternative was out there was a short-sleeve cotton t-shirt in the summer and a long-sleeve cotton t-shirt in the winter. So the idea was to solve this problem.
Today, Kevin Plank runs Under Armour from a converted detergent plant on Baltimore's Inner Harbor. With success has come the opportunity to pursue new passions, like helping to revive the struggling thoroughbred racing industry here in Maryland, a cause he took on a few years ago with the help of an old high school friend.
Just happened to be in Baltimore for dinner, and Kevin, said, hey, you have a minute? I need to spring an idea on you. I want to get in the horse game.
I said, at the time, I've been thinking about racing for a while because it's driving me crazy, all the negative talk around racing and horse racing in the state of Maryland. And we just decided, hey, let's try this and give it a shot. We said, we're going to need a place to stable the horses, and we were looking around, and there was something special about this place called Sagamore Farm that I'd seen on a bike ride 5 or 6 years ago.
Founded by the Vanderbilts in 1925, Sagamore Farm is rich in racing tradition. Home to 1953 Preakness and Belmont Stakes winner Native Dancer. But in the 1980s, the farm was sold and fell into a state of neglect.
When Kevin first showed me the farm, we actually snuck on, and it was in 2006. It was in disrepair. It takes a lot of resources to keep a farm of this magnitude, intact and thriving, and it was falling apart.
Tommy's reaction to it was, Kev, that's a big farm. And my reaction was, well, you better figure it out, man, because we're in this thing now. We thought if we wanted to ignite Maryland racing, which was really the ultimate goal we had, sticking a flag in the ground, a Maryland flag in the ground at that, and saying that this sport is alive and well in the state of Maryland. So it's not just a pretty farm, and it's not just white fences and red roofs that'll prove that, though. It's winning, and that's why we're in the game.
Plank's athletic and professional accomplishments have been staked in Maryland. Now in his 6th year of owning horses, Plank has his first chance at victory in his state's signature race with Tiger Walk.
Tiger Walk, he's an underdog, he's a long shot, but he's tough. I think he's going to make us proud coming home.
I like to say I'm smart enough to be naive enough to not know what we could not accomplish. And that basically plays in this attitude, and it's part chip on the shoulder, and it's part, why not us? Why can't we win the darn Preakness?
Kevin Plank, one of a sort of new breed of thoroughbred owners.
Tom, and somebody else, Brad Kelly, the owner of Optimizer, he's gone from old to new, taking over the historic Calumet Farms in Lexington, Kentucky. Good to see.
And Tom, you mentioned Kevin Plank is a billionaire. Well, according to Forbes magazine, so is Brad Kelly, and so is Cosetti's owner, Dennis Albaugh of Iowa, the prince of pesticides. So this new blood packs a pretty good financial punch.
Of course, it doesn't guarantee anything, but Kevin Plank, eat your heart out. Look at this, from down under, from Australia, compression suits for horses, helping them to get over the rigors of exercise. Maybe Kevin Plank can get the Under Armour brand on some of those. Well, the party underway here at Pimlico on Preakness Day. We'll get live at one of the oldest venues in all of American sports, Pimlico Racecourse in Baltimore, Maryland, where anticipation is continuing to build for the Preakness Stakes. For 3 years, from quiet farms to tracks across the country to the glare of the spotlight, Thoroughbred Racing's clock ticked down towards 2 minutes.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby.
Then in the final 100 yards at Churchill Downs, every hope and every expectation was reset in a surprise finish.
I'll have another on the outside and closing in. I'll have another has won the Kentucky Derby.
Now the clock's been reset to a 2-week countdown, to a bid for a repeat and a chance at history. Nothing about the path I'll Have Another took to his Kentucky Derby victory sounds conventional. Not the horse once sold for a relatively small sum. Not the owner who once was a university professor. Not the trainer who'd never won the Derby. And certainly not the jockey who was riding for the very first time at Churchill Downs. Now, I'll Have Another and his unlikely connections will have to fend off the talented colt Bodemeister, who came up 100 yards short in Kentucky, as well as a field that includes challengers both familiar and new in Maryland. After 3 years that pointed towards 2 minutes, 2 more weeks of anticipation culminate here at the middle jewel of the Triple Crown, the 137th Preakness Stakes. And at Pimlico, on the track they call Old Hilltop, the Preakness is continuing to draw near with Derby champion I'll Have Another in the spotlight, racing for a repeat performance this afternoon, vying with 10 other horses in the field for the famous Woodlawn Bods. And here are the current odds for the 137th Preakness Stakes, as Bodemeister continues to rule as the favorite at 2-1. Derby winner I'll Have Another, the second choice, he's at 3-1. And then Went the Day Well, third choice, 9-2. And the others, Creative Cause, 6-1, and the others are double digits. It is a gorgeous day in Maryland, 82 degrees. The Preakness purse, $1 million, with $600,000 of that going to the winner. Well, welcome back to Pimlico as we anticipate the Preakness Stakes. Bodemeister and I'll Have Another, or maybe one of the others. 5 of the horses that ran at Churchill Downs in the Derby are here today for the Preakness. And, you know, Bodemeister went so fast early in the Derby, but yet Mike Smith really got no criticism. He didn't have a whole lot of choice, did he?
No, he really didn't. I have a theory of why it looked like he moved early. There was a reason for this horse moving early. It was a horse called Triniberg, probably one of the best sprinters in the country. Unfortunately, the race was at 7 furlongs. You look at Willie Martinez, the jockey, at his arms right now. He's got this horse in a deep drive. What's that do? It sets Bodemeister wide open at this point right now. Believe me, Mike Smith would have liked to have waited a little longer.
And as Bodemeister begins to fade at the 1 3/16 mark of the Derby, again, that's the distance of today's Preakness, Bodemeister would have narrowly held off I'll Have Another, but the final 16th of a mile, eventful with the top 5 all swapping positions. But Gary uncovered something interesting.
Yeah, you guys take a close look here. Right now, Mario Gutierrez may have misjudged the finish line. It looked like he started to stand up there just for a brief moment. It didn't affect the order of the finish. He went on, but I guarantee you he was glad that he saw the finish line where it was, not where he thought it was.
The most famous instance of that, of course, was in 1957, the Kentucky Derby. The great Bill Shoemaker misjudged the finish line, stood up on Gallant Man, and Iron Liege won the Derby. Mario got back to riding here, though, no harm done. And, you know, with Bodemeister, he had the tough Arkansas Derby and then the Kentucky Derby, so Bob Baffert thought long and hard about coming to the Preakness. Right now, he's next to Kenny Rice.
All right, thanks, Tom. Bob, congratulations, by the way. Your wife Jill's horse won. Life is pretty good for you right now.
Well, we've had a good day. We're 2 for 2, and hope it just keeps rolling.
Let me ask you about Bodemeister. Unlike looking at Lucky, who did not win in Kentucky, you brought him in here to get a victory. You took a lot of time, more time than usual, to make a decision on Bodemeister. What all were you looking for, and what made you make that change?
Well, I actually knew about 4 days later I was going to do it. I just didn't want to get it out there yet. I wanted to see him for myself. And looking at Lucky, I was in the same scenario with him until I saw him Monday train. Then I knew he looked great. So, you know, when you haven't seen him for a week and then you look at him, you go, oh, well, I can see the difference. So that's why we did it.
Is it going to shape up like the Derby that Bodemeister's almost going to be forced to inherit the lead and go out there and try to hold off I'll Have Another?
Well, I can't change his style at this point. He's a young horse. He hasn't raced that often, but he wants to run on the lead. I just can't imagine Mike Smith trying to get him back. It'd be the way, you know, the track's a little slower today, but I like horses that come like 3-4 lanes off, and I think that's what you have to do today. But, you know, it's out of my control, so we're just going to let him roll.
All right, good luck, Bob. He's already tied for second place with 5 all-time Preakness victories, trying to get his 6th today. Let's go to Bob Neumeier.
To your point, Ken Rice, the trainer Graham Motion, who has went the day well, is very, very fearful that Bodemeister will steal off to an easy lead in this race. In fact, he told me yesterday that Motion was actually considering a rabbit for this race, and that would be a very fast horse that he would enter to kind of run with Bodemeister early on. He's used the strategy many times in the Breeders' Cup with Better Talk Now, a turf horse. It's done in Europe all the time. The trouble is, he didn't have enough time. It was just a 2-week turnaround time. He could not find the right horse to fit that strategy. But that said, he said he'd think about it in the Belmont Stakes. Here's Lafitte Pintai III.
So much has been made about all the ground loss and how wide Creative Cause was in the Kentucky Derby. And it did cost him. I had a chance to speak with his jockey, Joel Rosario, this morning, and he said, while he concedes it was a factor, don't expect Creative Cause anywhere near the rail this afternoon. He's much more comfortable on the outside of horses. He says, in a perfect world, Bodemeister outbreaks him. It's imperative that I'll Have Another outbreaks Creative Cause and gets to the fence as well. He wants to be third, sitting to the outside of the Derby winner. Also, Joel mentioned that he hadn't seen Creative Cause since the Derby, but Mike Harrington says he is doing just fine, and that's all he needed to hear. Let's go to Mike Battaglia.
All right, you're looking for a long shot in this race? I think I got one for you. Number 8, Daddy Knows Best. Daddy Knows Best trained great leading up to the Derby in the 7 to 10 days leading up to the Derby. If you talk to any of these astute observers who watch the works in the morning, ask them who they like, all of them had Daddy Knows Best in their top 3. And it showed in the betting. This horse went off 14 to 1. That's a shorter price than I'll Have Another one off. And I'll Have Another was coming off of a win in the Santa Anita Derby. So the horse didn't run well. He did not have an excuse there. But I'll tell you what, Don, it's tough to leave Steve Asmussen with a long shot out of your, at least your gimmicks.
How about Wayne Lucas with the long shot? 10th and 11th, Daddy Knows Best. Optimizer was right behind him, but admittedly, Optimizer did not have much of an excuse. He had to study a little tiny bit at the quarter pole, but at that point, he was pretty much too far out of it to win the race anyway. But he is trained by the ever-optimistic D. Wayne Lucas, who has had 32, a record, by the way, Preakness starters in 32 years. And by the way, he's also won 2 stakes races on today's card already. But Lucas does concede that Optimizer is going to have to run better than he has ever run, and he's going to have a clean trip. Let's see if the stars align for D. Wayne Lucas to get his 6th Preakness win today, Tom.
Well, it would be long odds if it happens, Donna. He was 42 to 1 at the Derby, but today getting a little more play, only 22 to 1 on Optimizer, trained by D. Wayne Lucas, who has won this race 5 times. And still to come, the stories of the I'll Have Another team. Doug O'Neill was jumping for joy and kissing everything around him at Churchill Downs. Paul Redham, wonder how much money he puts through the window today. And will Mario still be as cool as ever? Check out Preakness Extra on NBCSports.com, where you can see a live ISOCAM of Kentucky Derby winner I'll Have Another, plus more racing coverage from Pimlico today, including the running of the Dixie Stakes. And the packed stands here at Pimlico. And Doug O'Neill. There he is. The last 2 weeks have been a whirlwind for Doug O'Neill, but now in the glare of the spotlight, another side of O'Neill is getting attention, his medication violations. And earlier this week, Randy Moss sat down with the Kentucky Derby winning trainer.
In 17 years of training racehorses, you probably wondered hundreds of times what it would feel like to win the Kentucky Derby. Take us through the euphoria of the stretch run and the aftermath.
God, it's just, Randy, it's hard to put into words. As I saw number 19 pop up on the screen in 5th place making a move, and then I just was focused on the head of the lane, and I saw a little white star starting to come, and I was just going nuts.
You've had a great time this last week and a half. A lot of perks come with winning the Kentucky Derby. Take us through some of those.
Yeah, I got a chance earlier in the week to throw out the first pitch at Camden Yards. And,
right.
Well, if the batter would have been like 12 feet tall, it would have been, you know, it was if a right-handed, average right-side right-handed hitter would have been a little chin music. It was kind of up high, but I was just proud that I didn't bounce it and I threw it with a little bit of heat. It's been very cool to share this with a lot of people.
And as your cap illustrates, you also shared it with some children. Children's Hospital.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, we went down to Johns Hopkins, and usually it's the parents who are like, hey, can we get your autograph? When you get the kids to say, I want your autograph. Did you watch the race? Yeah. Is that incredible? What a nice horse. We got a lot of autographs from kids, and just, I mean, they're the stars, and they're just so giving, and they're so tough. I'm not going to forget this moment.
As people have seen, I mean, you're a very likable guy, right?
I talked to my wife.
But with the Kentucky Derby win always comes increased scrutiny. And so in the aftermath of the Derby, we've also heard about 12 medication violations, an alleged higher rate of injury for your horses. So how do racing fans, how do you think they should reconcile this Doug O'Neill with that Doug O'Neill?
You know, I've been vigorously fighting the previous allegations that you're talking about. And, you know, I always offer anyone who's going to write something negative about our barn to come share a week with us and see what we do. And you know, we take great care of the horses. We've got a great team. Have I run some horses in spots that I shouldn't have? You know, yes, you know, I could do better, and I'm going to do better. And but as far as my love for the horse, it's always been there.
Has the increased scrutiny in any way diminished the experience of winning the Derby?
You know, it would if I was here by myself. I'd probably be having a nervous breakdown, but you know, I'm here with a great crew, and we've been we rented a house right on the water there off Chesapeake Bay, and we've been looking for Michael Phelps walking around the area. We haven't seen him yet, but we all know how hard we work and how much we love the horses, and you know, so we're just staying focused on that.
Have you even allowed yourself to think about the possibility of a Triple Crown?
Yeah, that's another thing we talk about. The cool doors that this wonderful horse has opened for us, and as much fun as we've had in Louisville and Baltimore, to think of Manhattan, I mean, it would just be insane to take this traveling team to New York. So one race at a time, the old cliche, but we're definitely that's in our dreams. It's in there.
Well, Doug, who earlier lost an older brother to cancer, has certainly made a lot of new friends with his actions since the Kentucky Derby.
He has. He's always been a guy that's spent a lot of time with the disadvantaged children. And so, as you can see, he's a very likable guy. And to his credit, he has not run away from all those tough questions. But while he has immensely enjoyed the Derby afterglow, some parts of that attention, obviously, Tom, he has not enjoyed.
Well, the good and bad of Doug O'Neill. He's won over 1,600 races now, including 3 Breeders' Cups and now a Kentucky Derby. But the other side is, since 2004, he's been fined 7 times for medication violations. Now, these were therapeutic drugs, not performance-enhancing drugs. And he's had 16 test violations in 3 states over 14 years. So there is a good and bad side to Doug O'Neill as we go to Lafitte Pincott.
Paul, so much has been made over the last 2 weeks since Doug O'Neill's winning the Kentucky Derby. The violations, the alleged heightened injury rate in his stable. You've had a long-standing relationship with Doug. What's your perspective?
Doug has been a terrific caretaker of horses for us for 8 years, and you know, I don't know about his injury rate being higher than anyone else. I know it hasn't been true for us, and to me, he runs a very clean shop, and you know, people say bad things about people when they're winning, so that's how it is.
What's it like being here, the owner of a Kentucky Derby winner at the Preakness?
It is extremely nerve-wracking.
Have you allowed yourself to start thinking Triple Crown?
I have not. You know, I've had a lot of people say, hey, we're not coming to the Preakness, but we'll see you at the Belmont. I go, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, these things don't come easy, and, you know, the air could come out of the balloon a little later, so we'll take it one step at a time and go from here.
Good luck, Paul.
Thank you.
Let's go back to Tom.
All right, Lafitte, Paul, the former UCLA philosophy professor who has been a staunch supporter always of his trainer, Doug O'Neill. Well, today's Preakness features some familiar faces with some new horses. Dale Romans, who had Dillahan third in the Derby, brings Posetti here. And Michael Matz, the trainer of Union Rags, has Teeth of the Dog in the Preakness today. Tonight, live from New York, it's Saturday Night Live with host and musical guest Mick Jagger, and with special guests the Foo Fighters and Arcade Fire. An all-new Saturday Night Live tonight at 11:30, 10:30 Central on NBC. We're back at Pimlico prior to the Preakness Stakes today. And, of course, Bodemeister, the favorite at the moment, trained by the always recognizable Bob Baffert. This spring is one that Baffert will never forget. It began with a heart attack while visiting Dubai that nearly cost him his life, and continued 2 weeks ago with an emotional Kentucky Derby shared with his 7-year-old son, Bodie, and the horse named for him.
See, Bodie, all the Derby horses are out there right now. See that? It's a special time. Here comes Bodemeister.
Daddy, what number is Bodemeister?
Bob Baffert had not planned on making this walk, but he's doing it now. He's with Bodie, his son, and of course he has Bodemeister, one of the favorites in here, along with Liaison. Bob, what's your feeling right now walking with Bodie?
It gets me very emotional. Little Bodie, the day of the race, he told me he wanted to do the walk.
Bodie, how you like your walk?
It's fun.
You having a good time so far?
Yes.
And when I saw him, I just it really emotionally, really got to me. He's getting to that age where the emotions, he's realizing the difference between winning and losing.
They're off in the Kentucky Derby. Bodemeister and Klitterberg will lead that charge to the first turn at Churchill Downs.
Bodemeister broke like a shot. Coming around the first turn, it looked like he was in a perfect spot. It didn't look like he was going that fast.
And Bodemeister's in front.
Little Bodie, we were watching the race together, and I leaned over to him. I said, Bodie, that's Bodemeister's in front. And he said, I know.
45 and 1. Oh, they're flying up the backstretch.
All of a sudden, they hang up 45. And I go, well, that's not good. That's too fast.
It's Bodemeister at the top of the stretch. Bodemeister's got a 5-length lead.
All of a sudden, he's in front by 5. You know, we might be okay.
Bodemeister holding on to the lead. I'll have another. On the outside is closing in. I'll have another. Colors Bodemeister. Here's the wire. I'll have another. Has won the Kentucky Derby.
You're in the game, you lose more than you win. It wasn't meant to be. I could tell Bodie was really disappointed, and he's starting to tear up a little bit. So it was emotional for me, because in a way I was happy for the way the horse ran, but I was sad that he got beat for him. The Preakness is it's like vindication for some of the horses that you thought were the best horses, and they just didn't get a chance to really show their stuff. If you have the right horse, it's the easiest of the three legs. And Bodemeister, I'm counting on him.
So is Bodemeister the right horse? He certainly looked like he had plenty of energy as he arrived here in Maryland. In fact, Bob tried to walk him around the barn after he got off the van, and one lap was all he could handle because he was pulling him so hard.
Yeah, I read Bob pretty well, and believe me, he wouldn't be running this horse unless he thought he was doing even better than he was before the Kentucky Derby. I saw it with my own eyes when he got off the van. Believe me, his eyes are bright. He held his weight, and he looks like he's here to do business.
So Bob's confident about that, but you know, the bottom line is, if he's right, then Bodemeister wins, plain and simple. But the classier and the better a racehorse is, the tougher it is to tell how much a tough race took out of him. And Tom, some of the best trainers in the world have occasionally been fooled.
So we'll find out a little later if Bodemeister indeed. It doesn't look to be as much speed in the Preakness as there was in the Derby. Perhaps he can go a little slower earlier than he did at Churchill Downs. Well, that's a look at the stable area here at Pimlico, and most of the Preakness horses, most of them, are in the stakes barn. And let's talk about some of the horses that did not run in the Kentucky Derby, the so-called new shooters that are here today, starting with Bob Neumeier.
With Michael Matz, who trains Teeth of the Dog. A long shot. How do you assess his chances today, Mike?
Well, we're taking a bit of a jump in class running in this race, but I feel like he's doing well, and I think he's an improving horse.
Why did you decide to bypass this race with Union Rags and point to the Belmont Stakes in 3 weeks?
Well, I just thought just to give him a little bit more time in between races.
And how's he faring on the... You said he had a workout yesterday. How did it go?
He just stretched his legs a little bit yesterday, and he looked like he's doing fine.
Will Julian Le Peru ride Union Rags in the Belmont?
Well, we have to discuss that with Mrs. Wyeth, and we'll make a decision after the Preakness.
All right, Michael Matz. Here is Mike Battaglia.
Well, another long shot in here is Pretension, the 3-horse in here, and he is the Maryland hope in this race. Maryland native Chris Groves, the trainer. 87-year-old Irving Kidwell, also a Maryland native, is the owner. And quite honestly, on paper, it doesn't look like this horse has a big chance. I talked with Chris earlier, and he said Mr. Kidwell, he thought, deserved a chance to run in the Preakness. Mr. Kidwell is suffering from congestive heart failure. He's been in the hospital. He just got out on Tuesday. He is here. He's in a wheelchair to watch the race. And I asked Chris about his chances. He said, quite honestly, we'd be ecstatic if he just hit the board, Kenny.
All right, Mike, thank you. Co-owner Jason Luce was always hoping to have a horse like Cosetti, one that would be good enough to be in the Preakness and one that would have a name that people wouldn't forget, to pay tribute to a man he remembers daily, his old high school football coach at Ankeny High School in Iowa, Jerry Pizzetti. Cozine is the sire, and of course, Coach Pizzetti. Put them together, you have Coach Zetti. And Cosetti was named that way because Jason Luce is also a good football player. He was an all-state middle linebacker for the Hawks of Ankeny High School in Iowa. That is where Coach Pizzetti is watching today, who, by the way, is now coached for more than 50 years and is the third all-time winningest coach in Iowa. He's looking on today, and all the Hawks back there in Iowa, Tom, are rooting for Cosetti.
All right, Kenny, a look at some of the new horses we'll see in the Preakness today. Well, here on our Preakness broadcast, we're lucky to have a couple of jockeys who have won this race twice each, Gary Stevens and Jerry Bailey, both in the Hall of Fame. So we put them back in the saddle, playing the parts of Mike Smith on Bodemeister and Mario Gutierrez on I'll Have Another, to see how today's race might unfold.
I'm on Bodemeister in the 7-hole. I wonder what Bailey's gonna do, and I'll have another over there.
I'm on I'll Have Another in the 9. I can't let him get away too quick. I gotta chase Bodemeister out of here.
I got a lot of speed. I'm gonna try and open up on Bailey. I don't know what he's gonna do.
I gotta stay close to him. I can't let him get away too much. I can't let him get away, not like in the Derby. He's setting a hot pace. He's got to come back this time. He's got to come back. He's rolling too much. I'll get to him on the backside. No problem. Turning for home. I can hear the crowd. Bodemeister's going to kick it loose here. He's letting him out. Oh, but I got horse. I got a lot of horse. Oh, here comes Johnny.
I got a lot of horse, too.
Here they come. Come on, you can do it. Oh, this is a dog fight. This is a dog fight.
Right back like you did last time, son.
Last 16th, the last 100 yards. Come on, boy. Come on. Come on, I'll have another. Come on, boy. One more time. Give it to me one more time.
That's it, Bodie. That's it, Bodie. Who got it?
Oh, too close.
Well, are you guys still in one piece? Are you in, are there any aches and pains?
I thought we were in one piece. I was glad when I walked into the trailer this morning. I wasn't going to say anything. Jerry said, no, I don't know about you. I felt good yesterday, but I'm hurting today.
Getting out of bed was tough this morning.
And I know Jerry wanted to go by you there at the very end. It was just killing him that he couldn't go right on by you.
I'll tell you what, I hope those jocks look a little better than what we did. At least myself, Mike Smith, I know he's going to look better than what I did coming through the stretch.
So what are you thinking if you're Mike Smith leaving there?
Well, I think Mike's going to come away as quiet as he can, but he's going to stretch him a little bit going into the turn, I think.
Yeah, my feeling if I'm Mario is that I want to make sure I'm close enough to Bodemeister because he has such tremendous acceleration through the middle part of the race. If I'm too far back, he's going to get away from me and create an insurmountable lead that I'm not going to be able to overcome.
Well, it could come down to those two, or it could be somebody else, but it looks like the rivalry is underway with Bodemeister and I'll Have Another to be renewed today in the Preakness Stakes. Smith and Gutierrez, Bodemeister, and I'll Have Another, the 1-2 finishers in the Derby, set to square off again at Pimlico. Let's take a look at some of sport's other memorable debuts with Out of the Gate, brought to you by MetLife. Fuzzy Zeller won the Masters in his debut, 1979. Michael Jordan hit the game-winning shot in the 82 NCAA championship game for North Carolina. Rafael Nadal at age 19 won his first French Open. Trevor Bayne in the Daytona 500 at age 20. And now you can add Mario Gutierrez, a 25-year-old, winning the Kentucky Derby in his first ride. That's our MetLife Out of the Gate. I can do this. And so there is Mario joining that elite list of people at the top of their sport in their first attempt. And 2 weeks ago, most in the record Derby crowd had never heard of Mario Gutierrez until the race, when he delivered a flawless ride on I'll Have Another to win the Derby on his first try.
Was at the races at Santa Anita, and things at that time weren't going very well, meaning we'd had a lot of losers. And I noticed Mario riding in a race, and I said to Doug O'Neill, boy, I like the way that guy sits on a horse. Who is he?
Mario had just won a race, and he looked fantastic doing it. I knew his name a little bit. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
Doug called me and he says, Paul likes this Gutierrez guy. What do you think? And I was like, Gutierrez? I didn't know who it was.
Paul said, hey, that kid that just won that race, why don't you get him to the barn, have him get on, I'll Have Another, and if he fits, let's give him a chance.
Since the first time I worked him, I was like, wow, he is something nice. And I remember joking around with my agent, and I told him, like, I don't think they're going to give us this horse because this horse is good.
Mario Gutierrez was born in Mexico, but spent his last 6 years racing in Vancouver. The 25-year-old rookie impressed right away, justifying O'Neill and Redham's gamble.
I'll Have Another's in front. Creative calls, they hit it together. I'll Have Another, and Mario Gutierrez have won the Santa Anita Derby.
It was Mario's second big stakes victory at Santa Anita, but the handicappers snubbed him at Churchill Downs.
They didn't believe in me. They thought that this race was going to be too big for me, that I didn't have the material, that I wasn't experienced, and I was going to go there and 160,000 people was going to make me melt down.
I said to Paul, I don't think he has any idea what he's in for. I said, they're going to play my old Kentucky home, and he's going to think they're playing AC/DC. He has no idea about the song.
That was kind of our joke, that everyone else was going to get choked up by the song, but as long as the mariachi band stayed away, he'd be fine. We kept thinking, okay, the Derby, May 5, Cinco de Mayo, kid from Mexico, via Canada, I'm Canadian. How's this for the stars aligning?
Here's Neumeier. I'll Have Another, has won the Kentucky Derby.
After the horse won, we're running out onto the track, and the thing that hit home for me most was he was just bawling his eyes out.
All of a sudden, I feel tears coming out of my eyes, and it was the greatest day of my life. I'm just so happy that I didn't disappoint anybody. My life has changed in the last 3 months, like, and absolutely, I think it's 360 degrees. It's just absolutely changed.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mario Gutierrez. Mario, we wish you good luck in your pursuit of a Triple Crown.
This seems like a dream to me, like just to be at the right place at the right time. I was ready to go back home to Vancouver, and all of a sudden I met I'll Have Another, and then he just made me stay here.
And a live shot of Mario in the jockey's room here at Pimlico, and perhaps feeling a little more nerves now that he knows what it's all about. But with that ride at Churchill Downs, he became only the 6th jockey in the last 50 years to win the Derby in his first mount.
And coincidentally, the first 5 all came back to win the Preakness. But first of all, about the Derby, I don't buy all the stuff about how Mario didn't understand the significance of winning. You saw him break down and cry. He knew what he had accomplished, but he was kind of under the radar in the Derby. At 15-1, not a lot of attention on him. As you pointed out, the focus is entirely on Mario here, and if that collar is going to get a little bit tighter, it's more likely to happen.
I don't think it's going to, and I'll tell you why. He might not have the most experience in the world, but he has an agent, Ivan Puich, 86 years old, that has as much experience as any agent in the world. So here's a picture of Ivan right there, 86 years old, lost his 51-year-old son last year, didn't have a jockey at all. Well, little over 4 months ago, he winds up with Mario Gutierrez, and he got to see him in the winner's circle, something that Ivan had never accomplished either.
Well, certainly Mario will have a target on his back this time around, with a couple of veterans taking aim at him. John Velasquez on Went the Day Well and Mike Smith on Bodemeister. Will Mario be able to feel the pressure today, or will he be another cool as a cucumber rider?
The 137th running of the Preakness Stakes is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. By Century 21. Century 21 agents, smarter, bolder, faster. And by the new film Madagascar 3 in theaters Friday, June 8th.
Tomorrow, the Stanley Cup playoffs continue on NBC as the Coyotes take on the Kings in a pivotal Game 4. The Stanley Cup playoffs presented by Geico tomorrow at 3 Eastern, only on NBC. And let's take a look at the odds now for the Preakness Stakes. And Bodemeister now at 5-2, so he's gone up half a notch. He is at 5-2, but still the favorite, as I'll Have Another holds at 3-1 as the second choice. And at 6-1 is Creative Cause, and Went the Day Well 9-2 is the fourth or third choice at the moment. And Creative Cause, ridden by Joel Rosario. And we understand just a few moments ago, word came to us that Joel's brother, Moreno, who is a police officer in the Dominican Republic, was killed earlier today in an automobile accident. They asked Joel if he wanted to take off the Preakness mount Creative Cause, and he said no, he would ride in memory of his brother. So a tragic happening for the Rosario family, as Joel's brother Moreno killed today in a traffic accident in the Dominican Republic.
Now, in 1995, when I won the Kentucky Derby on Thunder Gulch, I had a very close friend who was a member of the media in Washington. His name was Mark Kaufman. Found out that morning that he had passed away the previous evening, and I went out and rode in memory of him, got the job done.
All right, we'll see what Joel does today in the Preakness on Creative Cause. And there's the aerial view of the barn area. As we said, most of the Preakness horses in one place in the stakes barn, with the exception of the Derby winner, I'll Have Another. And as they start their walk over to the grandstand to be saddled for the Preakness, let's go to Kenny Rice.
All right, thanks, Tom. I'm with Doug O'Neill as we're coming out here now with the big horse, I'll Have Another. Different feeling than 2 weeks ago when you were walking over at the Kentucky Derby with a horse that still some people thought was not going to win?
A little bit, yeah, it is. Now the expectations are definitely a little higher, but we're equally excited and absolutely love the way he's handled Baltimore here, and just feel very, very excited that he's going to run a big race.
What have you seen in him in the 2 weeks that he's been here in Baltimore at Pimlico, Doug?
Well, I've seen his appetite stay strong. I've seen his energy level stay high. I've seen his stride stay long, and I'm just seeing a horse that's thriving off the short rest.
As far as this race, the way it shapes up, do you see similarities between this and the Derby with Bodemeister and his speed?
Well, you know, the Derby looked on paper like it was loaded with speed, and I don't think any of us thought Bodemeister would get an uncontested lead the way he did. Now today it looks like he could get an uncontested lead, but You know, Mario and I have watched a bunch of replays, and Mario is so confident in this horse, and he's such a good rider, and it'll be in his hands to have him in the right place depending on how the pace is going.
All right, good luck, Doug. We'll see you in a few minutes. Let's go to Mike Battaglia.
All right, Kenny, with Dale Romans, who has got Cosetti in this race. Dale also trains Dullahan, who was a closing third in the Kentucky Derby. I guess the question is, Dale, why Cosetti today instead of Dullahan?
Well, we decided to wait on Dullahan to the Belmont. Jerry really like to win the Belmont with him, and I think that gives us the best chance to skip this race. But we're bringing a nice horse in here in Cosetti. He was a neck away from getting in the Kentucky Derby.
And, you know, I know you've been high on Cosetti for about as long as he's been running, but you say he's had some bad luck.
Well, he's just never finished the race totally focused, and I think he's growing out of that now. I think it took him a little longer to mature. He's always had the talent. It's just taking him a little longer to mentally come around.
You've had great success in the Triple Crown races, the last 7 Triple Crown races. Your horses haven't finished worse than 5th. Do we have high hopes for this one also?
I do. I sort of feel like it did when we brought First Dude over here 2 years ago, that everybody was really high on Patty, and First Dude was really doing well, and it's a similar type of horse.
Good luck, Dale.
Thanks.
Let's go to Bob Neumeier.
With Graham Motion on Went the Day Well. Last year, Graham, you brought over the Derby champion, of course, Animal Kingdom. Is the pressure any different for you today?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I felt like I held my breath for 2 weeks after the Derby before the Preakness last year. This year, we're trying to make sure it's not too easy for the Derby winner.
Tell us about Went the Day Well, and is the pace really important for your horse today?
Look, I think my horse is pretty adaptable. He can pretty much be wherever Johnny wants him to be. Last time in the Derby, he didn't get off a real clean break. We just need a clean break today.
Of course, all the trainers and the jockeys want to know, will you try to force the pace early, knowing that Bodemeister might steal off to a soft, easy lead?
Yeah, not my horse. I mean, I'm going to leave that up to Johnny. He's one of the best jockeys in the world. I would imagine we're going to be much more forwardly placed than in the Derby, though.
Here's Donna Brothers.
Steve, you've got Daddy Knows Best in here. He couldn't run any better than 10th in the Kentucky Derby, and you said he just wasn't fast enough today, but you're back again today. Steve, you're one of the leading trainers in the country. Obviously, you're here for a reason. What is that reason?
Well, horses that didn't have success in the Derby, not necessarily unprecedented to have success here in the Preakness, with opportunity for Julien Leproux to ride him again, who he had the success with him in the past. Horse is doing really well and going to take a career effort, but the opportunities like this don't come every day.
The horse has had 4 career wins, all of them with Julien up. Is that part of the factor of you running here today, getting Julien?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, his best races have been under Julien. Let's give that an opportunity.
Good luck to you in here. Steve's had a great record so far, 5 starts, 2 wins in the Preakness Stakes. Let's go to Lafitte Pinkai III.
Here with Mike Smith, who will pilot Bodemeister this afternoon in the Preakness Stakes. Mike, 2 horses in the last 50 years have run second in the Derby and come back to win the Preakness. You rode one of them, Prairie Bayou. Can Bodemeister do the same?
I really believe so, Lafitte. This horse is extremely talented. I still don't believe we've seen the best of him. So if he'll come back and just run that Derby race, he'll be tough to run down.
No rearview mirrors on race horses. When you're riding a front runner, how do you know when the pressure's coming and when to pull the trigger?
Well, you know, if I feel that the pace is well within himself, I mean, I can get brave a little early. It just all depends on how the pace is going and how he's handling where he's at. And if I think that I'm getting away with something, I can pull the trigger a little early. And if I feel I have to wait a little longer, I will. So it just all depends. Or if someone kind of jumps on you, you know, at the half-mile pole, you got to move. You can't just lose your position.
What would a second win in the Preakness Stakes mean to Mike Smith?
Well, this was my first Triple Crown win here, so it'd mean a whole lot. It's been 19 years, so I'd like to win another one. I'd also like to say something. We've got a fellow rider that's very, very ill, T. Joe Parrott in Louisiana. From his fellow riders, our thoughts and prayers are with him, and also with Joe Rosario, our condolences. He lost his brother earlier, and we just want to let him know that we're praying for him.
Good luck, Mike.
Thank you.
Tom?
All right, Lafitte. So Mike Smith, Mario Gutierrez. What about the tail of the tape? Look at the difference in Triple Crown races and Triple Crown wins in favor of the veteran Mike Smith. It gets even more so when you see career wins over 5,000 for Mike now. Pimlico races 86. Pimlico wins 13. So the big edge and experience to Mike Smith on Bodemeister when he takes on the 25-year-old rookie Mario Gutierrez on Derby winner I'll Have Another. Horses on their way into the paddock to be saddled for the 137th Preakness Stakes. Still to come.
Has won the Kentucky Derby. He's won the Preakness
more Derby and Preakness winners as I'll Have Another tries to add his name to that list today. Here at the Preakness, they normally saddle the horses out on the infield turf course where the fans can see them, but the normal paddock is this paddock inside the grandstand, and I'll Have Another is being saddled inside, as are several of the other Preakness horses. And the last to win the first two legs of the Triple Crown was Big Brown in 2008, trained by the controversial Rick Dutrow, who has Zetterholm in the race today. Dutrow has been cited for numerous violations of medication rules over the years, is currently appealing a 10-year suspension in New York, and so because of the appeal, he's allowed to run this horse today.
You okay over there, babe?
Recheck of the odds, where Bodemeister now back down to 2-1. With I'll Have Another at 3-1. He's been there all day long. Went the day well at 9-2, and it is Creative Cause at 5-1. He's gone down from 6-1 the last time we checked. So a little money coming in on Creative Cause. And earlier this afternoon, the 11 jockeys who will ride in the Preakness Stakes 137th edition, posing for the official jockey photograph. Well, one of the jockeys that was not in that picture was Kent DeSormo, who had been scheduled to ride Tiger Walk, but he failed a breathalyzer test yesterday at Belmont Park, and so was replaced as the jockey on Tiger Walk, who now will be ridden by Ramon Dominguez. And you talked to Ramon about Tiger Walk.
That's right, and he didn't know until late yesterday afternoon that he was going to ride him, and I can tell you one thing, Ramon can prepare for a race as good as anybody out there, and he's done his homework overnight, and that is studying the racing forms, perhaps studying tapes of this horse. I'll tell you, he knows the competition, he knows who he has to beat, and he'll know how to attack. It's just going to be a question, is he good enough to get the job done?
And we saw Joel Rosario there in the photo, who obviously has more pressing things on his mind today, but for the 2 minutes approximately during the race, he'll be focused on watching Bodemeister, watching I'll Have Another, and trying to gauge the pace. Creative Cause, his mount, has some tactical speed if he chooses to use it. We've already heard him say, or Lafitte report, he wants to be a little bit to the outside with Creative Cause because the horse doesn't like to be down in the crowd.
There is the gray horse, Creative Cause, being saddled by his trainer Mike Harrington, the former veterinarian. And so it's Bodemeister and I'll Have Another, the favorites at the moment. Let's see who our handicappers like. And yesterday, Mike picked In Lingerie to win the Black-Eyed Susan. Let's see if he can continue on a roll.
See what we can do for you today, Tom. And I know that you liked Bodemeister.
Loved him.
Last week, or 2 weeks ago. I'm assuming you like him again.
So I must love him today, right?
Exactly.
Wrong.
That's what I figured.
He's had too many races this year for my taste, Mike. I'm afraid of the wear and tear. 5 races this year as opposed to 3 for I'll Have Another. And I'll Have Another, to me, is the most disrespected horse. Think of the odds. He's won 3 straight this year. 43-1, 15-1, 4-1. And again, now he's 2-1 again, but I just think that that he's the horse today. And Bodie, I just wonder whether he's had one race too many.
Well, you know what? I'd go by the old adage, pace makes the race. Bodemeister went awfully fast last time out in the Kentucky Derby. He's not going to have to run a half in 45-1 today. I think he makes an easy lead. I think the shorter distance, the mile and a 16th, I think it all fits right with Bodemeister's pattern. I think he's just going to be awfully tough to catch. Of course, I've got a lot of respect for I'll Have Another, and went the day well. I think he's a solid horse, but I just think the pace of the race today, I think it's all in Mike Smith's hands, and I think we're going to see a front run and win from Bodemeister.
And Creative Cause too. I'd put him in the mix as well.
I'd definitely put him in the mix
as well. The outside shooters, I don't like at all.
No, well, Daddy Knows Best I give a shot to,
okay,
because I think he could have run much better than he did in the Derby. But it's I'll Have Another for Bob, Tom, and Bodemeister for me.
All right, and the people voting on our Facebook page think that I'll Have Another can add the Preakness to the Derby win, so they disagree that the result might be switched. Bodemeister 25% went the day well, getting 8%, 13% think the rest of the field. There's the scene at Pimlico as the crowd of over 100,000, the jockeys begin their walk from the jockeys room, which is upstairs, down to the paddock where they will join the trainers. And they come down the steps and will get a leg up on their horses. Mike Smith leading the parade out as we have a chance now to meet the jockeys of the 137th Preakness Stakes, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz.
Ramon Dominguez, Tiger Walk.
Joe Bravo, Teeth of the Dog.
Javier Santiago, Pretension.
Junior Alvarado, Cerrajón.
John Velasquez, Win the Day Well.
Joel Rosario, Create a Car.
Mike Smith, Bodymeister.
Julian Lepau, Daddy Knows Best.
Mario Gutierrez, I'll Have Another.
Corey Nakatani, Optimizer.
Jose Lescano, Cosetti.
And those were our Mercedes-Benz jockey introductions. And there is the Derby winner. I'll Have Another being paraded inside. Already has the tack applied. And a look at his primary rival, Bodymeister, number 7. Bob Baffert giving Mike Smith some instructions there in the foreground as the big crowd gets ready for the appearance of the horses.
The 137th running of the Preakness Stakes is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. By the amazing picture quality of Panasonic Viera HD TVs. By Pacific Life. Choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And by AT&T.
And there's an aerial view of the scene as many of the horses were saddled on the turf course out in front of the grandstand, and those that were saddled inside have now made their appearance outside on the turf course. Everyone getting a look at the Derby winner there, and now at Bob Baffert and Mike Smith. And let's take a look at our Ram Trucks race preview.
Tom, I've got Bodymeister going directly to the front. Focus on him. Mike Smith's not going to mess around. To his outside, that's I'll Have Another. Mario Gutierrez, he's not going to risk his chances by going too fast early on with Bodymeister. And just behind them, well, that's going to be I'll Have Another and Creative Cause and Teeth of the Dog back there with Went the Day Well in 5th place, much closer than he was before. He's got about a 4-length lead right there, does Bodymeister. Going into the far turn, though, Mike Smith has stretched him out. He's 7 lengths in front. Creative Cause, I'll Have Another, they're still there. But Mike Smith, he's going to slow down just a little bit as Went the Day Well gets involved, giving his horse a breather. As they come into the stretch, he's only a length and a half in front right now. Well, that's because he's let his horse fill up with oxygen again. He's going to burst away at this point right now, run away from the field. Got him pulling away, no question that he's going to win to me at this point. I'll Have Another. He's going to hang on, run 2nd or 3rd. I don't know. It's going to be close at the end there with Went the Day Well. But in the end, it's all Bodymeister, guys.
So that's the way Gary sees it on our Ram Trucks race preview. So he agrees with Mike Battaglia that Bodymeister will win it. There is Bodymeister. Bodymeister and his rival I'll Have Another, the Kentucky Derby winner, trained by Doug O'Neill, who is giving Mario Gutierrez a last bit of strategy. Bob Baffert with Mike Smith. Bob Baffert, 5-time winner of the Preakness Stakes. Will Mike Smith give him number 6 on Bodymeister? He's still the 2-to-1 favorite for the Preakness. There's the scene at Pimlico just prior to the second jewel of racing's Triple Crown, the Preakness Stakes, about to unfold at Old Hilltop. And now the call for Riders Up. And so each jockey will get a leg up. Bodymeister continues to be cool, as is Mario Gutierrez. And there's Ramon Dominguez, who will be aboard Tiger Walk in the inside post position, replacing Kent DeSormo in the Preakness. I'll Have Another continues to walk around and waving the cameras out of the way, but most of the horses seem to be taking all of this in stride.
They're taking it great, and normally you can see some horses that came out of the Kentucky Derby, and it looks like visually that the lemon has been squeezed dry. There's not one of these horses that looks like they've had a hard race 2 weeks ago in the Kentucky Derby, all doing exceptional.
And you know, Mario may not have a lot of Preakness experience, but as a whole, these jockeys are 1 for 36 combined in the Preakness. So they're Mike Smith with the only Preakness win, so their experience as a whole hasn't been an especially good one.
There's the Derby winner, followed by Optimizer, trained by D. Wayne Lucas, looking for Preakness win number 6. And the final horse, the gray horse, Cosetti. Jose Lescano, Dale Romans was 3rd in the Derby 2 weeks ago with Dullahan, and now has Cosetti. And now we'll have the call to the post for the 137th Preakness Stakes, followed by the singing of Maryland, My Maryland.
Ladies and gentlemen, now assembled in the infield winner's circle is the United States Naval Academy Glee Club under the direction of Monty Maxwell, chairman of the United States Naval Academy Musical Activities, to sing Maryland, My Maryland.
So from the Naval Academy, the singing of Maryland, My Maryland, ushering the horses onto the track for the 138th Preakness Stakes. Went the day well, and Johnny V in the saddle. John won the Black-Eyed Susan, the companion race for 3-year-old fillies yesterday, aboard in lingerie. And Joel Rosario riding here with his thoughts, no doubt, in the Dominican Republic, where his brother, a police officer, was killed in an automobile accident earlier today, and he dedicated his Preakness ride on creative cause to his late brother. And the Derby winner. A lot of eyes on the Derby winner, and the questions are, he was 15-1 at Churchill Downs. Can he do it again and take a shot at the Triple Crown? Here's number 1, Tiger Walk. That name comes from a pregame ritual before an Auburn football game, and Auburn is a client of Under Armour, Kevin Plank's firm. His resuscitation of historic Sagamore Farm would be a huge boost with a Preakness win. This horse 4th in the Wood. Teeth of the Dog is the 2-horse. Michael Matz had bad luck again with Union Rags at the Derby, so he waits for the Belmont with that colt and goes here with a horse that was 3rd in the Wood Memorial, named for a golf course in the Dominican Republic. Number 3, Pretension, Maryland-based under Chris Grove, the former Maryland All-State soccer player. His dad, Phil, is a Maryland steward who has recused himself today. And he's the father of Noah, a bone cancer survivor. Pretension, the winner of Pimlico's Preakness Prep, the Canyon Arrow. Number 4, Zetterholm, trained by controversial Maryland-born trainer Rick Dutrow. He won the Derby and Preakness with Big Brown in 2008. Zetterholm has won 3 in a row, but all against New York breds. Number 5, Went the Day Well, named for a famous epitaph on British soldiers' graves and echoed in a British movie. John Velasquez on Animal Kingdom for Team Valor, and Graham Motion was 2nd last year in this race. Went the Day Well had a rough trip in the Derby. He was 4th, but closing fastest of all at the end. 6 is Creative Cause, first Preakness for 80-year-old Swiss native and champion skier Heinz Steinman, for 71-year-old vet turned trainer Mike Harrington, and for Joel Rosario. This colt 5th, beaten 3 lengths in the Derby with the widest trip of all. Bodemeister is the 7, only 5 races all this year. Can he bounce back from a supreme effort 2 weeks ago? He could be in front by himself for Baffert and Smith. 8 is Daddy Knows Best. Steve Asmussen has trained 2 of the last 5 Preakness winners, Curlin and Rachel Alexandra. This colt was 10th in the Derby, bumped around a bit. It would be a big rebound should he win today. Number 9 is, of course, the Derby winner, I'll Have Another. The first Derby winner from post position 19. He got the perfect trip in Louisville. He's fresh. He's raced just 3 times in the last 257 days, winning them all. He has got a head start, too, arriving at Pimlico the Monday after the Derby. Optimizer is the 10, like Bob Baffert. Wayne Lucas has won the Preakness 5 times, though for Lucas it's been a dry spell since 1999. Now 76 years old, Lucas has earned the right to run where he wants, but this colt was 11th in the Derby at 42-1. And 11, the gray horse, is Cosetti. Dale Romans won the Preakness with Shackelford last year, and he was 3rd in this year's Derby with Dullahan, who's passing on the Preakness. Cosetti 4th in the Arkansas Derby. He's had a couple of fast works at Churchill Downs to put him up for the race here at Pimlico. So there's your field for the mile and 3/16 Preakness Stakes with a purse of $1 million, the second jewel in racing's Triple Crown. Joel Rosario electing to ride despite the death of his brother earlier today. John Velasquez on Went the Day Well only got beat a neck on Animal Kingdom in the Preakness last year. And Mike Smith, front-running Bodemeister. Can he hold him together to the finish today? Or will it be Mario Gutierrez in his first Preakness to duplicate his Derby feat? 2 weeks ago in Louisville, the Kentucky Derby came down to the last 100 yards of the race.
Bodemeister holding on to the lead. I'll have another. On the outside is closing in. Here's Neumeier. I'll have another. And won the Kentucky Derby.
Man, I can't explain how excited I am. Maryland, here we come, baby.
Now here at the Preakness, could I'll Have Another and Bodemeister be primed for another final stretch duel at Pimlico? One is the Derby champion with the unknown jockey who arrived out of nowhere, and colorful trainer and owner thrilled at their first taste of Triple Crown success. But the other is a horse that boasted some of the fastest split times in Derby history, with a Hall of Fame jockey and trainer poised to get even 2 weeks later. Other challengers lurk as well, like Went the Day Well, whose trainer Grand Motion won the Derby last year, and Tiger Walk, owned by Baltimore billionaire Kevin Plank, as well as Creative Cause, who finished 5th in Kentucky. It's been 34 years since a horse won racing's Triple Crown. I'll Have Another's chance to capture the middle jewel of the Triple Crown is just moments away. And at Pimlico, the horses completing their warm-ups now in preparation for the mile and 3/16 Preakness Stakes. And so far, it appears that all are warming up properly and nobody being distracted or bothered by the big crowd. There's the Derby winner, I'll Have Another. And let's go to Kenny with one final word from his trainer.
All right, thank you, Tom. He might have gotten distracted more by the big crowd than his horse, Doug O'Neill. Making your way over here, what are your final thoughts now as they get ready to come to the post?
I'm just so pumped. There's so much energy in the air, and it's so exciting. And again, I'll Have Another's just training phenomenal, and I love the way Mario is just so calm and relaxed and confident. And now we just need the racing gods to be shining on us, and we got a big, big chance.
What were your final instructions to Mario?
Well, you know, I didn't want to say much, and he kind of said, well, if he goes slow, I want to be right on top of him. I said, I think so, Mario. But, you know, mile 3/16 is still a long way, so just ride your race, and I think we'll be in great shape.
He being Bodemeister, of course.
Exactly. Yeah, Bodemeister's going to, you know, I don't think he's a horse you can really slow down. I think he's going to be free running, flying, and hopefully we're sitting in second, third, and we get it done.
All right, good luck. Let's go to Bob Neumeier.
With Bob Baffert, how's the nerve factor right now, Bob?
Pretty good. You know, we're like... we're getting sort of used to it, so, you know, the horse is prepared well, so I feel, you know, confident he's going to run a big race, so I just hope the pace isn't as fast as last time.
I'm almost as much interested as what 7-year-old Bodie has to say about Bodemeister's chances today.
I don't know what to say.
He's going to win or not?
I think so.
He thinks he's going to win. It's kind of like his father, right?
Yeah, he's going to run well, so that's all you can ask for.
Are you at the mercy of the pace?
I'm at the mercy, super mercy of the pace. So, you know, the track's been playing a little slower today off the pace, but, you know, good horses can overcome it. We'll see what happens.
All right, Bob Baffert and Bodie Baffert waiting for the big one.
All right, Bob. So pace, does Bodemeister get an easy lead today?
Well, I think unquestionably, I think he's going to get an easy lead. You heard Bob reference the racetrack. It is significantly slower today at Pimlico than it was at Churchill Downs on Kentucky Derby Day. Now, whether that means that works against Bodemeister or not remains to be seen.
One thing that I noticed from the Kentucky Derby at the break of the Kentucky Derby, if you look at the blimp shot there, I'll Have Another. He broke actually in front of Bodemeister for a couple of strides. His head was in front, if you looked at it, and I spent a lot of time looking at that. So this horse is very quick from the blocks, and he has the capability to go with Bodemeister if Mario chooses to, but I don't think he's going to risk burning his own horse up trying to stay close to lightning fast fractions. Again, if Mike gets Bodemeister slowed down, then I think he will.
And you know, Mario didn't take the bait at the Derby. He didn't try to chase Bodemeister, so he looks like he has that tactic down pretty well. Donna Brothers on horseback out on the track. Donna, what's your observation?
Well, I'll Have Another does have his good luck charm with him. That's Lava Man. Lava Man, of course, almost as famous as I'll Have Another, at least in horse racing. This is a horse that Doug O'Neill claimed for $50,000. He's 11 years old now, and he's retired. But in his career, he went on to earn over $5 million, which makes him the most successful claim in thoroughbred history. Doug O'Neill said, if horses can talk, and we think they do, then there couldn't be anyone better to lead him out. It's like having Arnold Palmer as your caddy, Tom.
All right. As we check the odds one final time as the horses have reached the starting gate, with Bodemeister still hanging as the 2-to-1 favorite here to win the Preakness. I'll Have Another still the 3-to-1 second choice. Went the Day Well and Creative Cause 5-to-1 each, and the rest are all double digits. And that's a look at Daddy Knows Best. Steve Asmussen trained Curlin and Rachel Alexandra to win this race, so he knows his way to the winner's circle at Pimlico. You also saw Pretension, one of the long shots, going in. There's the Derby winner in the foreground, as I'll Have Another enters the starting gate. Can he win the Preakness Stakes, 1 mile and 3/16, and keep alive a shot at the Triple Crown in the Belmont Stakes 3 weeks from today? There's Cosetti, trained by Dale Romans. He'll go into the outside slot, number 11. And here to call the 137th Preakness Stakes, over 1 mile and 3/16 with a purse of $1 million. Here's Larry Collmus.
Thank you very much, Tom. Cosetti is about to take his spot in the outside stall. The others are standing well and ready to roll. They're all in line. And now acting up just a bit there is Zetterholm, throwing his head about. Settles down, ready for the start. They're off in the Preakness. Bodemeister and I'll Have Another both had good beginnings. And Bodemeister is going to go out to set the pace, and I'll Have Another is close to him. And Pretension is out with speed to the inside. Creative Cause came out fourth in Teeth of the Dog. Tiger Walk is down on the inside. And closer today is Went the Day Well, who's moving in between horses. And then it's Cosetti, followed by Zetterholm. Optimizer is next, and Daddy Knows Best. That first quarter was 23 and 3/5 seconds as Bodemeister barrels around that first turn in front. He leads the way by a length and a half. Pretension second. Creative Cause third to the outside. I'll Have Another is fourth as they move to the backstretch. He's 4 lengths off of Bodemeister and outside of Tiger Walk, who has the rail. Went the Day Well and Teeth of the Dog are right together, 6 lengths off the lead. And then it's Cosetti and Zetterholm, Optimizer, and Daddy Knows Best, 47 and 3. 2 seconds slower than the Kentucky Derby. An easy tempo for Bodemeister, and that bodes well for him as they continue the run up the backstretch. Creative Cause is up running in second position. I'll Have Another will be 3 deep as they go into the turn. Pretension is down at the rail. Tiger Walk is ridden along for more speed than Teeth of the Dog and Zetterholm. It is Bodemeister on top as they round the far turn. He went 3/4 in 1:11 and 3, and Mike Smith and Bodemeister are in front by a length. Creative Cause is second. I'll Have Another well within striking range. Now Mario Gutierrez asks him to go, and he's 3 wide, and they're into the stretch, and it's Bodemeister coming to the 8th pole. I'll Have Another makes his move on the outside with 1 furlong to run. Bodemeister's in front. I'll Have Another is bearing down on him. It's Bodemeister and I'll Have Another in a dramatic Preakness. Can I'll Have Another get there? Here he comes. Here's the wire. I'll Have Another did it. He ran down Bodemeister to win the Preakness, and the Triple Crown will be on the line at Belmont Park.
Wow, he did it again. Dueling all the way down the stretch, grinding away. Gutierrez working on him. And finally, in the final yards, once again to catch Bodemeister and win the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown. Wow.
This horse just keeps getting better. And like we said earlier in the week, we may not have seen the best of him yet, and we still might not have. He's improving with every race. He had an impossible task when they came into the stretch with the way the fractions were.
Bodemeister had the quintessential perfect trip on the front end, everything his own way, kicked hard turning for home down the stretch. They finished a mile and 3/16 and 1:55 and 4. An outstanding time for this racing surface. I'll have another, just had more guts when it came right down to it.
And if you don't think Gutierrez has ice water running through his veins, check out, look, I mean, everything he did was the right move. He saved ground around that turn, waited till he straightened up, down the lane, gets up and wins by a neck.
And another disappointment for Bodemeister, but again, game in defeat. Let's go to Kenny Rice.
All right, I'm with Doug O'Neill. Doug?
Kenny,
hey, well,
they're looking for you.
Well, here we are again. Excuse me.
Rough life, baby.
Doug, this is getting to be old hat. And I say old hat, you've lost another one here. Congratulations.
Unbelievable. Thank you, Kenny. I just can't even put it into words. It's incredible. And you know, what a ride. Mario is so patient. And, man, I'm just numb. It's incredible. Baltimore baby. Sorry.
The pace as it was going out there was a little slow, about 47 and change for that half. Bodemeister on the lead. Any concern at that time?
Well, when I saw 23 and change, I kind of liked where we were. You know, Bodie had to run a little bit to get to where he was, and he did slow it down. But I just said when I saw Mario finally get him in stride mid-stretch, I just had faith he was going to get there. Whoop. And you're Zilla. Zilla, we got. Okay, come on. These are our owners right here. Yeah. But
Mr. and Mrs. Retta making their way in.
I think we better get him.
Doug, I know you're on the way to the winner's circle. Let me ask you. You talked after the Derby. You were thinking Triple Crown.
Yeah.
Obviously now thinking Triple Crown.
We're thinking Cash Call. We're thinking Redums. We're thinking Triple Crown, baby. Come on, Baltimore, New York. Come on, why not? He's a special horse. So we'll see how he comes out of it, and if he comes out of it in good shape, we're heading to New York, baby.
You're going to have to get another hat, you know.
I know. I need some hair plugs or a toupee or something.
You need another hat. He's thrown his hat into the stands again. Let's go to Donna.
Mario, Kenny Rice just got done talking to your trainer, Doug O'Neill, and he's obviously very, very happy. The dream continues to live for you. What's this mean to you?
Well, more than anything, I'm glad, you know, that I keep not disappointing people. You know, I always thank everybody for the support. But like I say, it's not me, it's just him. It's just all about the horse. It just keep proving people run.
Actually, I have to tell you, I talked to Mike Smith after the race, and he said, you know, I slowed down the pace, but that's just a good horse, and people don't give him credit. Obviously, you support that same feeling.
Well, like I keep saying this since day one, like I believe in him because I'm on him, and he deserves to be like people to give him a shot because like nobody put him in this race. He put himself here, and then he just keep proving people. I'm so happy for him because he's just a great horse.
Like you said, the race didn't set up for him. They didn't go nearly as fast today as they did in the Kentucky Derby. Were you able to lay closer and get the position that you wanted? And were you confident throughout that you had the horse to get there?
He has a tremendous kick. If you have seen me before, like in the interviews, he has a tremendous kick in the end. Like he's more smart than I am, so I can just wait for me till I ask him, and he goes for everything.
Well, you know the next stop is in 3 weeks. Now you have to try to go 1.5 miles. What about 1.5 miles with him?
We'll see.
All right, my last question for you. Your agent, Ivan Puick, at home watching. 86 years old, he couldn't be here. What would you say to Ivan?
Well, thanks a lot that he took the time. He took the time to, I knock a few doors before anybody took me, and he's the only one who gave me the opportunity to work for me. So I just, if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here either. And one more thing, last time my valet said that I didn't say hello to him, so I want to say hello to my valet there, Santa Anita. I didn't forget. I promised him that I wasn't going to forget.
What's his name?
Jaime.
Well done, Mario. Back to you, Tom.
Well, we've gotten to know Mario a little bit in the 2 weeks since he won the Kentucky Derby, and this young man is so humble, so appreciative of all that's been done for him, from Veracruz, Mexico, by way of Hastings Park in Vancouver, and now 2 for 2 in Triple Crown races, and with a chance to win the Triple Crown in the Belmont Stakes in 3 weeks. I don't think it'll affect him at all. He has been a delight to be around, to listen to how appreciative he is of everything that's been done for him. And certainly top of that list is the horse. I'll have another.
I know one thing, I'd hate to play poker with Mario Gutierrez because he doesn't show his hand much. And I didn't think he had a chance right here because of the soft early fractions, but one of the things that helped him was he got behind Creative Cause around the turn and actually saved some ground once again and waited till he straightened up for this big burst. He knows that he's got a good turn of foot. This isn't just an average horse that he's running by here right now, Randy.
And as those two draw away from the field, I got to point out, given the running time here, I don't think Bodemeister was really feeling any serious effects from the Kentucky Derby. I think he ran his race, and I'll have another just ran him down.
Yep.
And Doug O'Neill, well, we know how demonstrative he can be. Threw his hat into the stands at the Derby. He kissed the trophy. He kissed Kenny Rice. Here he is jumping up and down again, and there goes the hat. And Paul Redham, the philosophy professor.
How much did he bet this time?
With a hug from Zilla, who asks him if he wants another cookie, and he says, I'll have another. And disappointment again for Bob Baffert, for Jill and Bodie, as another close defeat for Bodemeister. Let's go to Bob Neumeier.
Second the Derby, second the Preakness. What were your thoughts at the various points of call during this race today, Bob?
Well, I felt really good about where he was. He looked like he was traveling nicely down the backside, and coming to the 3/8 pole, he just sat on him. You know, the fractions were more reasonable today, so, you know, turning for home, I really thought, you know, he's going to do it, and he just got a little late there at the end. And the winner's a good horse, and it was a good horse race, and I really can't complain. We didn't win it, but my horse ran the race.
What about the respect you have not only for the winner but his rider as well?
The rider, the winner's a good horse. You know, he'll get the respect now that he deserves. And the California horse is really tough. It just shows you, you know, they ran 1, 2, 3. And you know, I'm proud that as a trainer, my horse showed up, he ran his race, and he got beat. So that's all you can ask for.
All right, thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
That's Bob Baffert.
So California horses do run 1, 2, 3, as Creative Cause was third. And for Mario Gutierrez, Ronnie Franklin, Stuart Elliott, and now Mario winning the Preakness on their first ride in the Black-Eyed Susans. And Mario celebrating again, just as he did 2 weeks ago. And when we return to Pimlico, we'll have the full race replay, sponsored by Pacific Life.
The 137th running of the Preakness Stakes is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. By MetLife, I can do this. And by ADT Security Services, always there.
And the result of the Preakness Stakes is official. I'll have another paying $840 to win. Bodemeister's second, Creative Cause was third. The Exacta paid $1860, the Tri $35.40, and the Supra paid $424.30. As I'll have another wins the 137th Preakness. Time for our Pacific Life race replay now. Choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed.
Guys, as expected, Bodemeister's going to go to the front. He didn't make the lead quite as easily as I thought, but I think that Mike did that on purpose. So we saw those fractions. They were relatively slow as compared to the Kentucky Derby. And Mario Gutierrez riding a perfect race right now. We got Creative Cause in between here. Watch this move. He's in the pink lane second right now, and he's going to get in tight. Rosario makes a great move right here. We saw 3 perfect rides up to this point right now, Randy.
At that point, Mario was 3 wide around the first turn. He saves a little ground here by backing up and moving inside. Most people thought that I'll have another would have the trip that Creative Cause is getting right now, second to the outside. But when Rosario got aggressive and wanted to be in that position himself, well, Mario became a little more patient and backed up, showing confidence despite the slow fraction.
Yeah, he gets to the outside here now. He gets out from behind Creative Cause, and he's going to get a little bit closer, but he's not going to pull the trigger yet. He knows it's way too early. They're a half mile out at this point, a little over a half mile. And Mike Smith still very comfortable on Bodemeister up on the lead. Joel Rosario, he had the love where he was. I think all three of these guys pretty comfortable with where they're at right now.
And at this point, when I saw the half in 47.68, I got to tell you, I thought Bodemeister was long gone, even though Creative Cause is dogging him right here. There you see Mario drop to the inside a little bit there.
Exactly. He thought about going on the inside of Creative Cause and splitting things, and his horse, he must have sensed, hey, I've got enough horse. Don't take a chance of getting him stopped in behind Bodemeister inside of Creative Cause. Decides to come out, and when he puts the pedal to the metal right here with the 1/8 of a mile left, the kick was explosive.
Look at the distance Bodemeister is putting on Creative Cause back there, who is no bum. And yet, I'll Have Another has enough to run down Bodemeister from behind in a heck of a Preakness Stakes for both horses. We have a Triple Crown on the line.
I'll Have Another. It does it again. That was our Pacific Life race replay. Choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And here is a Preakness tradition underway. The painting of the winning horse's colors on the weather vane. Paul Redham's colors on I'll Have Another. MetLife is proud to provide today's aerial coverage for the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 1, and equally proud to provide access to financial security. Visit the MetLife Facebook page to join the conversation. MetLife, I can do this. And after the Preakness Stakes, turn to the NBC Sports Network for your post-race wrap-up. Get all the highlights and insights from today's race. The Preakness Stakes post-race show only on the NBC Sports Network. Here's the complete order of finish in the Preakness. Zetterholm finishing in 4th, Teeth of the Dog, Optimizer. Then Cosetti, Tiger Walk, Daddy Knows Best, Disappointment, Went the Day Well, a major disappointment, and Pretension finishing 11th and last. Now for the winner's circle presentation, let's go to Lafitte Pinkai III.
All right, Tom, here with the president and COO of the Stronach Group, Mr. Frank Stronach, and of course the governor of Maryland, Mr. Martin O'Malley, to present the trophy to the winner of today's Preakness Stakes, Paul Redham. Governor.
Hey, thank you very, very much. It's my honor, Mr. Stronach, and in the company of Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake and Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown, to present to you, Mr. Redham, the most coveted trophy in all of sport, the Woodlawn Vase. Congratulations.
Thank you. I think I owe it to these guys, really.
Paul, can you take us through your emotions as you're watching that epic stretch duel unfold?
Well, I knew it was a long stretch, and I have to say there was a point where I didn't think we were going to get there, and we kept digging, and Bodemeister was running his guts out. It was a fantastic race, and I didn't feel confident we were going to get there till about 10 yards from the wire, and then it just all let go.
No horses won a Triple Crown since 1978. 34 years, the longest drought in racing history. What would it mean to Paul Redham to own the next Triple Crown winner?
34 years? I didn't know that. No, I'm kidding. You know, Lafitte, I haven't thought past today, and because I just didn't let myself do it, and you know, I just can't imagine it, so I'm just going to let it go at that. We'll roll one day at a time, and hopefully the horse is, you know, doing well out of the race, and you know, it's going to get crazy, and I'm going to try and keep everyone's feet on the ground.
Congratulations, Paul. We'll see you in New York. Doug O'Neill, after you won the Derby, you said, I was a C student in high school. Now I'm a C student in high school that's won a Kentucky Derby. That C student is now going for the Triple Crown. What does Mom think now?
Well, she thinks to be a trainer, you can be a dummy. So I fit that mold. Real quick, I got to thank a couple people: DeMarco, Preston, Daquan, Joseph, Faith, Mackenzie, Gregory, Daquan, again, 2 Daquans, well, Tavon, and Hope, of course, and just a lot of cool people, and, well, of course, Daniel, my son Daniel, and just a lot of cool people that we met in the community here at Baltimore, and we love Maryland, and man, Baltimore is awesome.
As that jacuzzi evolved into an indoor pool, have you delivered on the jacuzzi promise just yet? Now you've won 2 legs of the Triple Crown.
Yeah, I know. We might, maybe we'll move. Maybe we'll actually get a yard that can fit a small pool. I don't know. I'll have another. It's just he's opened up so many cool doors, and we're meeting so many cool people, and we're getting to do a lot of cool things that, you know, we never would have been able to do. So we're just going to take great care. I'll have another and see where we go from here.
What can you say about this gentleman? The ice water in his veins, Mario Gutierrez, delivering another clutch primetime ride.
I can't believe it. It seems like he's been riding this racetrack his whole life. You know, he rode 2 the other day and he won both. And today I was definitely down the backside. I'm like, oh man, go, or slow, go. And he was just patient, kept him out of trouble. And we called on him. He responded. And these two just fit each other so perfectly. And I can't say enough about Mexico letting us borrow Mario, and he's the king.
We will see you in New York. Best of luck going for the Triple Crown.
Thank you, Lafitte. I love it.
Congratulations, everyone. Let's go back to Tom Hammond.
All right, Lafitte, so I'll Have Another heads to Belmont Park with a chance to join the greats, the 11 horses that have won Racing's Triple Crown. And the question I have for you now, of course, is 1.5 miles. Can he do it?
Oh, he can get the 1.5 miles. No question in my mind that he can get the 1.5 miles. But what he's going to have to deal with is a couple of horses that skipped today's race in Dullahan and Union Rags. They're freshening up, waiting to attack. But one thing, he is for real, guys.
On the plus side, I mean, I'm not sure any horse is really bred nowadays to go 1.5 miles, but he has as good a pedigree as any of them do for it. He has the right running style. He's tactical. He can show speed. He can back off the pace. He's fairly lightly raced, which is a big thing when you're talking about 3 races in 5 weeks like this. And after this Preakness Stakes, he has run significantly faster than either Dullahan or Union Rags has ever run in their entire career. So we're going to see I'll Have Another as a pretty solid favorite in the Belmont Stakes.
It's going to be a lot of fun in 3 weeks. So I'll Have Another will be going for the Triple Crown. The colt by Flower Alley from Arch's gal, Edith by Arch, bred in Kentucky by Harvey Clark. Sold for $11,000 at the yearling sale. A groom purchased him to resell him at $2,000 when he brought $35,000. Now he's on the verge of making racing history. Don't forget that for more Preakness coverage, head over to the NBC Sports Network for our post-race show. And tomorrow, the Stanley Cup playoffs presented by Geico continue on NBC as the Coyotes take on the Kings in a pivotal Game 4. That's tomorrow at 3 Eastern on NBC. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, it's NBC Nightly News. And tonight at 11:30, 10:30 Central, it's the Saturday Night Live season finale with host Mick Jagger. And once again, at Pimlico, well, I'll Have Another.
It's Bodemeister, and I'll Have Another in a dramatic Preakness. Can I'll Have Another get there? Here's the wire. I'll Have Another net. He ran down Bodemeister to win the Preakness.
Victory again for Mario Gutierrez, Doug O'Neill, and I'll Have Another. And now a shot at what no horse has done since affirmed in 1978, and that is capture the elusive Triple Crown. That chance will come in New York 3 weeks from today, Saturday, June 9th in the Belmont Stakes. So for our entire NBC crew, Tom Hammond saying so long from Pimlico, I'll Have Another is your Preakness champion.